Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you in to the world of professional wrestling. I'm Keeney and I'm joined by Krusty and Fisher.
Hello.
Hi guys, and that's not my name for the show. My name for the show is Mr. Summerslam because I got 100% on the praise.
Mr. Summerslam.
Seth Rollins has that title in wrestling. I'm having it on this. Let me have it. It's my first good predictions I've had all year. So
you literally all year, more like in the last 5 years. He's done one good on probably one of the most predictable pay-per-views, which I think just shows how poor you are.
Well, this is a nice welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. Yeah, you can't come in here giving it the big one. That's what's going to happen.
Come in here, call yourself
anyway,
Mr.
this is a SummerSlam special. If you didn't gather what's going on, so we're going to recap and review every match on the card from SummerSlam with Mr. SummerSlam down there.
Mr. SummerSlam.
How about you kick us off, Mr. SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we started the show with an absolute banger, really. Should we just get into it?
Yeah, get into it.
So, yeah. And there it is. The name has changed for YouTube.
I have changed for the YouTube.
Just for one day only. But yes.
Let's get into the first match.
Bayley versus. Sorry.
Fisher's jumped ahead.
There's no spoilers here. We've had an absolute mare from Mr. SummerSlam.
Jumped ahead there.
Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. Had a really, really good match, I thought. Let's talk about the match itself before we talk about the huge thing that happened afterwards. Probably the biggest talking point of the whole show, to be honest, I would say. But the match itself, what do we make of it? I thought it was really good. As good as the WrestleMania one, maybe?
I think so. I think this was as good, if not a little bit better. In my opinion, I thought this was superb. I mean, these two just have such chemistry in ring, don't they? The way Becky tries to get out of their KODs, and I think she turned one KOD into a disarmer at one point. Just brilliant chemistry between these two, and I think the right result, and also with what happened after it, definitely was the right result. But
absolutely.
Do you have anything to add on the match itself, Krusty? I know you go.
Yeah, well, straight away when I saw Becky's gear, I thought this is not her usual heelish, arrogant gear. The colours were very bright and bold, and I thought, well, maybe she's looking to turn face. There was also a different demeanour about her. She didn't look the usual sort of, not as arrogant and things like that. So straight away I noticed a change there. As always, Bianca was incredibly athletic. Some of the things she was flipping out of, and what I loved was it didn't look like she was just doing a backflip in the middle of the ring for the sake of it. It flowed with the move. And I can't remember one bit she did, but it just looked absolutely insane off the back of one of Becky's moves. And she just did a backflip out of it. So smooth. And she's big, as in like, she's hench, isn't she? And the fact she can move like she does just baffles me. And like you said, the chemistry between her and Becky just makes it so good. And the ending, I absolutely loved how fluid from the Superman hand slam.
The closing spot.
Just mad, and you also had that Spanish fly as well. Just amazing.
Yeah, that was the standout thing in the match for me. Was I don't think I've seen Bianca Belair do that before. I may be wrong.
I don't remember it.
I don't recall her ever doing that before, and that looked insanely good. And that's obviously a new move added to her repertoire. I don't know if that's been sort of a new thing. I mean, we've said we're going to overanalyze things and say, is this a new thing that they've kind of added into which she wouldn't have done before? I don't know. Or was it always planned to be, I'm going to do this in this match one day, and then it just so happened to be here. Whatever it was, anyway, it was awesome.
They've got to pull a big move out of the bag sometimes, haven't they?
And I've just got before we move on to the after match angle, which is where we're all dying to talk about. Fisher's already letting slip, but I want to just ask a question because I think this may be consolidated my thoughts. Do you think Bianca Belair is the best female wrestler, full stop, in professional wrestling right now? Because I think
overall,
I think
we're just talking about in-ring wrestler.
In-ring ability, I think she is number one.
I'm going to say no, but I think she's in the top 3.
Who's your number one?
for me, Sasha Banks is the best women's wrestler there is. Right, she's obviously not active at the moment.
I mean, I think you put Becky up there as well.
I
her
think
storytelling.
I think Asuka in ring is just
Asuka
insane.
is incredible. Yeah,
they're all brilliant. I just think
it's hard to separate. There's not a lot between these people. Bianca, it depends on what you like stylistically. Yeah, I think if you like power, you like athleticism, especially. Bianca probably has the edge on some of those attributes. Asuka's more of a sort of technical wrestler, if you like. You know, the different styles. I think it's stylistically what you prefer, to be honest. I just think, to be fair though, I mean, Bianca's matches, I was going to say Sasha doesn't have, every time Sasha has like a pay-per-view match, it's been incredible. But
Bianca's
had an amazing match on Raw against Doudrop. I mean,
even the ones with Carmella recently were excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she's getting up there to be the best. I'm not sure she's quite there yet in terms of number one for me, but she's definitely in the top 3 or 4. And we've only mentioned WWE people here, by the way. So I personally think a lot of the best women's wrestlers are in WWE. There's probably
I would agree,
some Joshi wrestlers and people like that we don't cover on this show that we don't know much about that are great. And there's some good ones in AEW and Impact. But in terms of WWE, I think they're the 3 that I mentioned, as long as Becky, Charlotte, the obvious ones are up there. They're all good. They're all amazing. And the standard is very high now. So.
They are, yeah. And I mean, just the fact that they gave Bianca Belair a clean win over Becky Lynch here, considering where we were last SummerSlam when she got done in 10 seconds by Becky.
Well, the story's come full circle, isn't it?
It has.
From having no respect for Bianca Belair to full respect for Bianca Belair. And I love that.
Exactly. And I mean, were you guys, I mean, I thought this may be what they would do. They might, because I feel like Becky was probably, the fans have always been behind Becky, even as a heel, fans love her. So I thought the right decision would be to move Becky face. And I thought they would, this is probably one of the reasons I went for Belair to win. I thought they would probably go for Becky to kind of turn face at the end. But I wasn't expecting what happened next. Were you guys expecting?
Oh, nobody was expecting that.
I did predict
So you predict Bayley.
I said Bayley
you
a few
did, actually.
times.
All right,
I thought you said Bayley in the other match, though. But or were you just talking in general?
I thought she'd just return, but I did think the other match would more suitable.
I thought
because SmackDown is so lean. For,
That.
the Raw divisions just got was stacked before, but
we had Bayley, didn't we? And
so what are you thinking when Bayley comes out?
You guys start with Bayley. Come on.
Well, I can't say I didn't expect it because this is around a sort of time.
It was highly rumored that Bayley was going to be.
And I was like, oh yes, Bayley Belair, what a feud!
And she even tweeted sort of denying it yesterday, which made me think she was. Yeah, coming. It made me think, oh yeah, of course you're coming back then.
Just she's normally been something different as well. It feels different now.
And
she's been gone a year plus.
Over a
year.
She hasn't wrestled in front of a live crowd since.
Wow,
crowd's been back.
Yeah, that is mental.
I bet that felt good. Come back at SummerSlam in front of all those fans.
Yeah, and the pop she got as well.
Hopefully, her first match back is in front of us, guys.
That'd be so good at Clash of the Castle.
Please, I mean, we'll get to Clash of the Castle because there is a card lined up for Clash of the Castle, which I am absolutely buzzing for. So Bayley comes out. We're all like,
well, I was buzzing.
That's
for
impressive.
This. Yeah, I was happy with that. I was happy with that bit.
And then we hit the next music drop, and I'm like. What?
It took me a couple of seconds. I was like, I recognise this music. Whose is it? Because I haven't heard it in a while. Because she's been gone a while.
Oh, excited.
And I was like, hang on a minute. Dakota Kai.
If we go back to how much I slaughtered WWE when she got released, I was absolutely furious.
Yeah.
Triple H has not only put his stamp on it, he's like broke the table with the stamp. He's just gone wild, hasn't he?
I mean, Fisher makes the point. Yeah.
What a re-sign.
Oh, it's incredible.
She just looks cool as well.
Yeah.
What a look she's got going on there. And behind Bayley, it's just what a mad...
It's a great spot to come in at for her. I mean, there were a lot of rumours when Triple H took kind of control that maybe people that had been released might have second thoughts and might want to come back.
Especially ones that hadn't signed for obviously.
Do you know what?
Quite a lot that have signed for other companies that are stuck in contracts. But
I didn't think of Dakota Kai when that.
Nor did I.
I didn't.
Yeah.
My first thought was obviously Johnny Gargano and other people.
Yeah.
But I didn't think of Dakota Kai. But yeah, Triple H obviously is a big fan of hers.
What a genius.
We've seen that in the past.
And I mean, Fisher said earlier about trying not to overanalyze stuff that maybe Triple H has done.
This
This is in your face, Vince. This is Vince McMahon would never have done this.
I also saw one thing. I said that I haven't seen a lot of news coming out of SummerSlam because I haven't really been active on Twitter. But one thing I did see today was apparently this stable was pitched by somebody in WWE to Vince McMahon a while ago. These three people, and Vince turned it down. And that was shortly before Dakota Kai was released. So that was kind of the last thing. They pitched the thing for Dakota Kai. They go, right, okay, we've got nothing for you. You might as well go. And Io Shirai was also on her way out by all accounts. She wanted to call up to the main roster.
Yeah,
she was ready to do it.
Someone I was worried about. Io.
And reports recently she was basically ready to leave. Her contract was up soon, and she didn't want to stay in NXT because she's done everything she can do. She wanted a main roster call up or to go, and she was probably going to go back to Stardom or something like that.
So Io Shirai, if you haven't watched, Io Shirai came out after Dakota Kai just to blow our minds anymore.
Yeah, her name's changed, but at least with this name,
just same music. Yeah,
she's called the Genius of the Sky anyway. So Io Sky, and it's Io still. It's spelled differently, but it's not a bad name change in my eyes. And Dakota Kai's still got the same name. So that's
well, that was like they both had the same NXT music.
Yeah,
I actually didn't realize her name was Io Sky until I looked on Twitter afterwards.
Yeah, I only realized
one of you said
Corey Graves.
Yeah,
I thought he botched it. He said Io Sky. I was like, that's not her name. And then he said, it again a couple of minutes later. And I was like, does he not know who Io Shirai is, or someone got? And then when Byron said it as well, I was like, okay, that's her new name then. It must be. But I didn't look it up because I didn't want to get spoilers for the rest of the show.
But yeah, I mean, these three as a stable, I mean, I cannot wait for Raw. I'm ready to see what promo Bayley cuts because it's going to be incredible. And we then got Becky Lynch siding with Belair. Yes. So, I mean, there's tag team matches to be had here. Becky against any of those three, Belair against any of those three.
That's the thing. They're three incredible wrestlers in a faction. Normally, you get a faction and it's one person that's great. You might get a decent tag team behind them or something like that. These three are all great.
They are. And you're thinking long term, when one of Dakota or Io or both want to turn face and they can have a feud against Bayley, there's just so much that can be done here. And if they want to bring back the women's tag team,
I was just about to say that.
I think
we have a tag team right here.
If Triple H has ideas in his head of doing that, you could put the main title on Bayley and you could put the
tag
women's titles on the other two. I think that would be fantastic way to do that and bring them in. And Dakota Kai, she must have been happy with whatever she got offered because she was released. She was very upset when she got released by the company, but I don't think this is the thing. She was obviously upset with Vince McMahon and the way she'd been treated. She wasn't upset with Triple H and other people within WWE, Stephanie, other wrestlers. Well,
this is the thing. A lot of those people, doors. A lot of those people that got released are big Triple H wrestlers, aren't they? A lot of people
most of them
really
either were in NXT or are.
I can honestly see Triple H bulking out the roster again. I think he's going to get rid of the Brocks, the Goldbergs, save that money and put it into having 2, 3 or 4 different NXT superstars. So you've actually got a variation. I mean, straight away he's brought 2 in one go.
And I mean,
and Bayley back.
We haven't mentioned it because this obviously hasn't it was only on SmackDown, but we saw the return of Max Dupree on SmackDown as well, where there was rumors he'd fallen out with Vince and was being pushed away from that stable. He's now back on TV.
And he was on this show.
We're going to see a lot.
He was
doing a water promo.
He was doing something on this show. So there are obviously Triple H he must like that group to have featured them on SummerSlam. There was a few little bits on SummerSlam that were interesting that weren't anything to do with the show.
Just so exciting, isn't it? I'm honestly, even talking back over it, I'm excited all over again. I was so excited. And obviously, I watched it so early this morning before you guys, so I was so desperate to say something. I just had to.
And I did love as well. Obviously, we mentioned it, but the Becky bit at the end as well.
Yeah.
And it coming full circle, and her standing with Bianca, the hug, the handshake, the genuine emotion. And I just saw as well, she tweeted saying, Bianca Belair is everything she says she is. She is the EST.
Yeah.
So like that just shows that you've gone from the disrespect over a year story. Whether they plan to do this every year storyline, I'm not sure. It might have just fell that way. But overall, it's actually been a really well told story.
I mean, the kind of one slight downer on this whole what's happened is maybe Rhea Ripley, because I think we were headed for Rhea v Belair, and that appears to be dead in the water now with the Becky match. Now we've got 3 new people to challenge. It's like Rhea's been pushed back.
That's if you get an injury or something like that, that happens. She can work her way back. Bianca Belair herself in an interview the other day, she said she sees her and Rhea as like the new female like Becky Charlotte, where they could feud at any time, and it can be like they could be in WrestleMania match kind of. Yeah, I can see them doing that. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, it is a shame for Rhea because she was in a good spot there, and it's kind of gone the other way. I'm hoping we'll get to that match later, but hoping we can do something with her on Judgment Day.
Yeah, we just need to move a few over from Raw to SmackDown on the women's division because it is so one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a SmackDown review, but we got Aaliyah v Shotzi on SmackDown, which, no offense to those 2 women, they're fine, but it didn't feel important. It didn't feel anything. It just felt like it was there. And then on Raw, you've got all these women.
You got Asuka and Alexa doing nothing.
Going to have a big shake-up, surely.
Yeah. So I think a superstar shake.
I think Triple H should just do a complete redraft, just root and branch. I think get exactly how he wants
he's got an excuse to do it. He can just come out and cut and be like, "I'm in charge now. Yeah. I want new rosters." He doesn't need it. Like he doesn't need to wait till October where they normally do it or whatever. He can just do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've gone a bit of a tangent there. But this was a really, really enjoyable first match and first segment. And I was so hyped after all of this. I was thinking, what is coming next?
Yeah, what a way to start the show. Unbelievable.
And then what did come next was Miz v Logan Paul. And, you know, to some, that might have been a bit of a downer after what come, but it wasn't for me. I really liked everything about this, actually. It started quite slow. I liked the Miz's entrance. I like the fact Ciampa was out there and he felt like an actual important part of his act here, which again, don't want to give Triple H all the credit, but Triple H, we know what Triple H thinks of Ciampa. I can't see Ciampa being an afterthought.
No,
under Triple H, even if he's still with the Miz, he's not. And here he felt important. He was a major part of this match. Maurice didn't do a lot. It was mainly I thought Maurice was going to do more than Ciampa did in this match, but it didn't turn out like that. But yeah, he came down. The entrance was all cool. Logan Paul comes out. I said this match was slow to start with, but it really built into it. And I already spoke to you about Logan Paul a little bit. I thought we said he delivered at WrestleMania in a tag match where he was hidden. I listened to you guys on the podcast the other day saying, you know, it's a big call to put Logan in a one-on-one match. But my view in it is kind of like he's signed a WWE deal, so he needs to sink or swim. We saw it with Cain Velasquez in the past, who come out from another. You know, he came in from outside of WWE. He signed a WWE deal. You know, he came in. Yeah. They go right straight into a main event program with Brock. Let's see what you can do. It flopped massively, and he left. Logan Paul has come in, and I think he's delivered in a big way.
Yeah, he really
so. Has. I think that's what you want to do. You want to put them in this moment and go, right, let's see what you can do. Let's not hide you too much. You've had your one match where you're hidden in the tag match. Let's give you the opportunity. And he delivered.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this was a good match. Kind of what I expected it to be. You know, we saw Ciampa be ejected and AJ come out and forearm him. And
now that is a feud.
They fought AJ Ciampa. I mean,
I liked the use of getting people on the card that weren't on the card on the show. Yeah. So like we had a couple of in-ring promo segments. We had obviously a random call out.
It did feel different, didn't it? Like you don't get that very much pay-per-views.
AJ Styles coming out and doing that in a big stadium show. I didn't expect it, to be honest. It was cool. It was cool, and obviously sets up probably a tag match.
AJ versus Ciampa. Wow.
We have had that already. As a match on Raw, but I feel like
a proper feud where they're both allowed on the microphone for a start.
Yeah, Ciampa needs to speak more. That's for sure. We've seen he's done amazing promos on Raw Talk and digital exclusive content ones where it's just like on the website and on Twitter. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Triple H is going to have him on that mic.
Yeah.
He is going to be
100%.
by the end of the week. He's going to be spitting absolute fire. And like you say, if we get tag teams between Miz and Ciampa versus AJ and Logan Paul, that'd be cool. That could be even something we get.
I think that's my prediction for Clash. I think we get that at Clash. I think they go to a tag. I mean, again, it seems maybe a bit backwards, but Logan Paul win a tag after having him in a singles match at a pay-per-view. But it kind of makes sense with the storyline. AJ's involved, Ciampa and Miz. It's going to happen, a tag team match, isn't it?
Does that mean we break up the great tag team of AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, that 1 week only tag team. But yeah, I mean, we haven't mentioned was Dispatch. Yeah, Logan Paul's dive off the
Shane O'Mac style.
Yeah, Shane O'Mac elbow drop. Oh yes, frog smash, wasn't it?
Frog
smash through the table. Incredible, isn't it? It's incredible for
that
someone
was a serious height.
Brand new to the company. Has wrestled one tag team match before, and has that is impressive stuff from Logan Paul.
He even tweeted, actually, I saw as well, saying, "I found my calling. This is what I'm meant to be doing." Which I love. I love that.
And I mean, one of the big questions.
I know he's disliked, but I like him so far.
Well, yeah, I was going to.
He works very well, doesn't he, in WWE?
I think that was one of the big questions: was how can you get Logan Paul cheered? Well, have him team with AJ Styles and have him do a frog splash.
Be legitimately
through a table to the Miz.
Like if he's legitimately good, people will respect him and like him. Yeah, that's all it normally takes. It doesn't, it's not rocket science normally. I know some people have.
I mean, I remember hating Pat McAfee when he first came to NXT.
Yeah,
absolutely hated him, and then suddenly, within no time, I thought he was the best thing ever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's mad how it can change. I mean, interested to see how much we see of Logan Paul now on week-to-week TV. Hopefully, we get to see him a lot more.
I don't think it'll be like all the time. I don't think he's going to be there every week, but that's fine. The interesting thing as well is he won with this skull crushing finale, didn't he? He used a lot of the Miz's moves in this, which I thought was good. He also used a phenomenal forearm. And then they said, has he been training with AJ Styles? I thought he did some cool stuff in this match. Some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it was a great showing. Great showing from him.
And the Miz was a great opponent. Credit to him as well.
Oh, it's perfect opponent for someone like that, I think. Then we had the US title match, Bobby Lashley and Theory, which is kind of a bit of a nothing match, really. When you look back on the night as a whole, this match
I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have even done this match.
Again, I think they want Lashley on the card, and we complain about mid-card matches not being on pay-per-views. So this was on a pay-per-view. I would have had Theory get his rematch out of the way before, because he's still got that money, but he doesn't need that US title rematch. He was never going to win when he's got the briefcase. So I would have just got that out of the way on Raw and given Lashley someone else to face on the card, like a Kevin Owens or someone. Like, do that. Yeah,
rather than to me,
makes more sense.
It was a waste of time having Theory in this match because his whole storyline at the moment. I almost forgot that this match was happening. His whole storyline has been him walking around with a briefcase, smashing people with it, pissing off Roman, Brock, Drew, Madcap Moss, Dolph Ziggler, anybody he can, but not really Bobby Lashley. Like it's not really been a thing. I wouldn't have bothered with this match, and it was it felt like an afterthought on the card, to be honest. It was just that what we got was good, but it just didn't need to be there.
Yeah, there's nothing special.
I think the only thing it did do, though, was really reassure fans that Lashley is a beast and could put out Theory in no time. Hurt Lock is the most protected submissions going currently. People, not only do people tap out with the Hurt Lock, they tap out very quickly quite often.
I love that. Actually,
Theory tapped out in seconds, which is good. And what's interesting actually is I saw a again, I don't know how reliable this stat is. So I saw this on Twitter, so this may be reliable, may not be. But apparently, Austin Theory is lost 8 matches in a row since winning Money in the Bank. He has not won since winning Money in the Bank. He's lost every match.
They do that a lot with Money in the Bank, guys, don't they? I don't necessarily think it's the best way to go about it.
If he's going to be a future champion, that's not the way to do it. But who knows?
I don't think he will be, though. I that's my feeling, my gut feeling on it.
We'll see.
Whether that's the right or wrong decision is up for debate. But my gut feeling is he won't win the belt. And if he does, it'll be like the shortest reign you can possibly have.
I think that's possible. Yeah, I think that's
I think he
possible.
should definitely win it, whether he keeps it.
Yeah, I just don't want to see a failed cash in again.
I don't mind
fed
if
up
it's
with
split.
it.
If it's a 2 split belt, then I won't mind. If he wins 2 titles and he's the only world champion,
I think they'll split that title.
Yeah, I think if Drew wins at Clash, which spoiler alert, I think he might.
Yeah.
Then I think it's the time to split it, because I don't think Drew needs to have 2 belts, and his gimmick isn't I want to win every. I think he'll just go, I'm on SmackDown, I'll keep the SmackDown title, thank you very much, and the other one will lead to a tournament or something like that. If Triple H books it like NXT, he'll do a tournament because he loved the tournament in NXT. I would love to see that. Imagine if we got a tournament building up to like the Royal Rumble, and then the final took place at the Royal Rumble or something like that for the world title.
That'd be
amazing. Or even you do the Royal Rumble match for the championship.
They've done that before.
Yeah, Triple H won it.
Yeah, there you go. He loves
Last
it.
time that happened. So yeah.
Sorry, move on to the next match. The Mysterios against the Judgment Day. Now, before I just pull over to you two guys, I have a few queries of this match.
I know which one of them is.
Yeah, so it's meant to be a no DQ match, and yet people stand on the apron and tagging in. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I hate that, especially when the heels are.
If it's no disqualification, why are you standing on the apron and holding the tag rope and tagging in? Like, you can do whatever you want.
Shouldn't it?
Yeah. Like, it just doesn't make any sense as to why that happened. And that, because it started as like a brawl, then like went back to like the tag. I was like, what are you doing?
I agree. That is a
really
it is a bugbear of mine as well. AEW
really
does
stupid.
those type of tag matches sometimes, and it pisses me off when they do it as well.
Yeah, that was what.
It's silly.
Yeah, so this match was probably one of my least liked on the card. I wasn't. I think
there was only really one thing to talk about coming out of it. To be honest,
I mean,
that was
Edge's return. I mean, Krusty, you're
the other thing. The
big Edge guy.
To come.
I loved this return. The only thing is, it ruined my prediction. I was going
to say the only other point of it is it made me miss the SummerSlam.
I thought it was going to come after the match.
So did I.
But what a return! Just so cool, so dark. I just thought it was incredible the way he comes out of those steps. Just the candles.
That entrance was amazing.
Yeah, that entrance was mad, and then just spearing Balor and Priest. The pace he got.
Oh, his spear on Priest was mental.
Huge, wasn't it?
Like, bounce off 2 ropes. Yeah, it's amazing. So again, I've got a question for you guys. Do you think we are lining up for a 6-man tag, or just there's a few options they can do here? They can move Dominic and make him, Krusty's prediction, which got.
I think they're going to drag. I think they are going to do that, but I think they'll drag.
I think it's going to be a while.
Yeah. Or so we could have a 6-man and we could have a new member of Judgment Day. Maybe they get, because they keep saying it. Or
I've got a different idea,
because Rhea Ripley's been quite involved. Does Rhea Ripley get involved?
I was going to say, I think they're going to do a 6-person.
She keeps
because
beating Dominic.
She can beat up, and I believe she can beat Dominic up. It's not for me. It's not far fetched.
I think
she could beat Edge up.
I think she can beat Ray up.
So for me, her being in a 6-person tag with the guys is not a bad idea to me.
Yeah.
The other thing, of course, you can do is you bring in Beth Phoenix. I mean, you mentioned. I think.
I mentioned on the pod. Yeah,
you could bring Beth Phoenix back and do her team with Edge against Rhea Ripley. Is also a no-brainer.
And I couldn't see it being too far-fetched that somewhere down the line we get Demon Finn Balor versus Edge.
Oh my word!
And I would
I saw an interesting thing from a quote from Finn the other day. Actually, said he wants more creative control over the Demon character because it's been ruined.
I want to give Krusty more creative control with his ideas. Krusty's ideas on the Mysterious and Judgment Day is incredible.
They ruined it though. They absolutely ruined the stable. So I've got some serious.
Yeah, but you're booking it like an absolute god. Just need to give it to you.
It's got to happen. Yeah, Triple H, give me a buzz, mate.
Yeah.
I'll be there. No problem. Stand on your side.
He'll put that segment every week.
I'll beat your Paul Heyman.
So yeah, anything else to say on the Edge return or this match in general?
No, the match was okay. It wasn't like a banger. It was decent enough until where it got going. It was kind of, to me, it was obvious Edge was returning, and helping the Mysterios. Because of the no DQ stipulation, I gathered Edge was entering during the match. As soon as they said it was a no disqualification match, I was like,
when it happened, I
that's
thought,
a spoiler.
Yeah, when it happened, I thought, oh, it's a no DQ match. Of course, he's happened to come during the match. It makes complete sense now.
And, you know, it was obvious. I was just waiting for it to happen. And as soon as Finn went, get the chair to Priest, the lights went out and that was it. And I was like, here we go. I felt like it was that match where I was just, because we speculated some returns. We thought something might happen with like Rollins coming out and things like that and Bayley coming back. But we knew Edge was coming back here, didn't we, really?
Oh, yeah.
It was so obvious. They've been building that video
up
for weeks and weeks. So for me, it kind of made the match a little bit, because there was no other reason for this match to be on the card. They literally did the same match on Raw. Why would you have this match on the card if it wasn't for Edge to make a big return? So it was so obvious here. But yeah, it was okay. And the return of Edge was great. That was great.
It was. All right, should we move on to the next match?
Yes.
Pat McAfee and Happy Corbin. Krusty, do you want to...
So this started quite cool, just with, Corbin came out with his usual arrogant self, but then you had a choir come out and start singing bum-ass Corbin, which I thought was just so clever. I will say I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't have Seven Nation Army, because I thought the crowd was going to go wild for that. Well, but I guess that was a one-time only thing.
I did like his music.
He's got his own music now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I did like it.
Yeah, they played it on SmackDown when he came out. They didn't show it on TV, but when he came out to commentary,
Fax Fisher there straight in.
Yeah, they played it. So it was on the
MP3,
WWE Twitter and stuff. So I knew they weren't going to do the Seven Nation Army here, but I agree with you. I think they should have. I guess it probably cost a lot to keep the royalties for that.
Yeah, it cost a hell of a lot.
They probably did it as a one-off. Can we use it as a one-off? And they said, and it was but
the darts use it, so bigger budget than them.
But I thought it was a good match overall. Had a big feel, like a real sort of feeling behind it. I absolutely loved the bit where Corbin had McAfee on the announce desk, put on the headset, and then was insulting his mum and dad while beating him
I love
up.
that bit.
Yeah, then he pushed over Michael Cole.
yeah, he did. Yeah,
I thought Michael Cole was. We'll talk about him in the main event,
really.
but I thought he was great as well. But
I
thought
superb night.
Michael Cole was really good on commentary in this match, and he was I remember the Pat match at Mania as well. He was great. He really adds to it, and Corey Graves as well on the other side, balancing it out, like not feeling it.
You forget how
really good
because Michael Cole's great with McAfee, but you forget how good Corey and Michael Cole were. Like they were together
solid.
for a long time.
They were pretty solid. Yeah, they weren't bad by any means.
I think they have good chemistry. So
they have decent chemistry. I think obviously the chemistry of Cole and McAfee's next level, but
also maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure McAfee didn't commentate all night, did he? I'm sure it was Corey Graves.
No, I don't think he did.
No, he didn't,
which I think is a really cool touch, because he
definitely shouldn't do afterwards.
Yeah, it makes complete sense that he's preparing for his match and not commentating on Judgment Day. Like, why would he do that? Like, surely he's more focused on his match. So I quite like that they did that. That was a nice little touch. I kind of noticed that when he came out. I was like, I haven't seen him all night, Pat McAfee. But yeah,
one thing I liked from commentary as well is when the ref got knocked down finally and was distracted. I think it was Corey said, "Oh, Pat's gonna cheat now. Pat's gonna cheat." And I thought, well, he said that he's not gonna cheat, and then he did. He blowed him.
Yeah, low blow.
And I like that because it was a callback to obviously Corbin doing it to Pat earlier in the feud.
Yes.
This whole feud's has made sense and it's been pretty good, I think. Panama
really
Sunrise kind of style move to win.
Yeah.
From Pat.
I didn't know what that was called. I also put Panama Sunrise.
It was basically a Panama Sunrise. He did a swanton, a sloppy one, a bit.
He did nearly fall off the top rope a few times.
Even his Panama Sunrise was a bit sloppy.
Yeah, it was all a bit.
It wasn't perfect.
And he did a spot where he
in a way though I like
rope.
that, because I think sometimes you can have wrestling that's too choreographed that it is so perfect.
And it's Pat McAfee. He doesn't wrestle every week.
He's not a wrestler, so for him to be slipping and almost falling off, although it's a bit unsafe, but generally it looks better because he's not a wrestler, like you say.
We did get a slip later in the night, which I'll see if I can remember. Maybe just trigger me in
the
main event.
I want to hear the slip now.
I remember. There was a slip in the main event. So just
I remember.
Trigger me.
It barely affected. It didn't really affect.
No, I just found it funny.
It was random. Yeah, it didn't have much effect. It wasn't.
Was it Jay
Stephen
Uso?
Gerrard?
Stephen Gerrard? Well, John Terry.
No,
Well,
come on.
really
All right, let's.
I was
Sorry.
being nice. I was being nice.
It's a
Sorry.
wrestling podcast.
To reviews back to the Champions League final there. I don't know what year it was. But
2008.
Wrestling
Okay.
podcast. Okay, it's been like 14 years. Anyway, anything else on Pat McAfee and Happy Corbin?
No, let's move on to the little promo bit that happened in between. I think we can talk about that briefly.
Yep.
The next match. So Drew McIntyre comes out, which I thought was a smart move, getting him out in front of the crowd, because again, like I said, they got AJ out in front of the crowd, they got Riddle and Seth out in front of the crowd, and they got Drew out here. And he cut a really cool little babyface promo. I loved him taking the mick out of the main event.
Oh, ripping
when
the
he
hell
was
out
like,
of it.
Yeah.
"This is the first time ever," and then he was like, "In this city, in this stadium, in front of this guy. What's your name?"
Yeah.
Cult
chant.
and a cult chant.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a really good little promo from Drew. It was just a bit of fun.
Yeah, he really buried the main event, didn't he?
Proper ripping that.
Yeah, I
wasn't
thought
he?
it was a really good, funny promo. Actually,
It's great. I mean,
I think a good idea just to get in front of the crowd. I think
they need to build Drew up big time heading towards Clash, because he's been kind of stuck in the mid card for a little while. Despite feeling a big deal in the mid card, he's still been in the mid card nonetheless, feuding with people he should be beating most weeks.
I do think the Sheamus matches though have really got over. The crowd have loved them.
Yeah, but right now, other than ignore the fact it's in Cardiff or in the UK, do you believe Drew McIntyre can be undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion of WWE? Right now, I don't think he's quite there. I think they need to build him up a bit, and I think they will. But
maybe not in terms of how
mad.
popular he is compared to what he was, but I still he's one of those people that I think can win the title at any moment, a bit like a Bobby Lashley or a Lesnar or even a Rollins. These people don't need to necessarily be built for months and months and months. They can just kind of win out of nowhere, and I'll be like, fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean the factors in the UK.
He might not win. We're assuming he's going to win here. He might not.
Yeah.
He might be. There's no point in building him up massively if he's just going to get beaten by Roman, which is definitely a possibility. It's no means certain that Drew wins at all. I think we want a title change in person, and I think it'd be a cool moment for Drew, but I don't think it's guaranteed at all.
No.
Should we talk about some of the other little, just random bits on the show whilst we're on this subject?
Yeah, go on if you got a list.
Well, I haven't actually made any notes of the others, apart from randomly there was a Charlotte Flair video one, which I thought was interesting.
We had a Kevin Owens one as well.
Kevin Owens one, which is great. Any excuse to be a bit of KO shown on the show. I wish he was wrestling on it, but
I think Triple H he's someone who Triple H will push.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
No, I don't think I'm not worried about it. It's just that he had that little injury, didn't he? And it's kind of derailed him a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that Charlotte got a video package and they didn't just make her. I thought she would return on the show. I was so sure she was going to get involved in that main event. But then, not the main event, the women's. Sorry, not
committed F5 rock.
She was going to interfere in Liv and Ronda or come out at the end of that match. But then it was kind of obvious she wasn't, because this was before that. I thought it was quite strange.
Yeah, I think it was just before the match, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was strangely placed. So yeah, I thought that was odd.
It was a good video package, though, by the way.
It was good, and the KO one was good, and there was also our favourite little faction, Maximum Male Models, had a little moment. With some water.
Yeah, lovely. It's
just there. That was about it, really. But I don't think there was any others. There was obviously that other in-ring promo, but I think that's got a little bit more to it, I think, to talk about. So we'll talk about that when we actually get to it.
We'll get to that in a bit. So the next match was the undisputed tag team title match, the Usos and the Street Profits. And I think me and Krusty said on our weekly review last week that this would be match of the night. We've now seen the whole night. Do you guys think this was anywhere close to match of the night?
No,
because I think it under-delivered for.
It was a good match.
A match
but
the
lack of anything happening at all. I think we over-expected something because they put a special guest referee in.
Oh,
yes,
I
don't think he added anything to the match.
It's one of the worst decisions they've made. I just can't understand that decision to make a referee. Makes no sense.
Yeah, and it was.
He did nothing.
He did nothing in the match.
He
Other
just
than
caught a super
kind
kick.
of,
That was it.
Montez Ford got wound up by him, but he didn't actually do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like that was Montez Ford's fault. It wasn't Jeff Jarrett's fault. So it
that
kind of
if
increased
we got a
the
turn. If we got a
Ford's
turn at
frustration.
the end,
But he could have done that to a normal ref. He could have done that to anywhere. He could have been frustrated with any ref. It just so happened to be Jeff Jarrett. It could have been Jessica Carr, the female ref.
Can I just say though, the logic of needing a special guest referee, someone who's not a referee, based on the fact that referees who are trained to referee have missed a couple of shoulders up, is poor logic. If they had gone down the route of referees keep getting knocked over, and that's why, or maybe we'll get someone who used to be a wrestler to be referee because he can take a bump, that makes more sense than because why would you get rid of someone who's qualified to someone who's not qualified to do a referee's job? Logic,
it makes no sense.
The whole logic is stupid. The person they chose is stupid, and then nothing happened at the match.
I also think this match didn't help is because I think people have just seen it so many times, and it's we had a banger at the last pay-per-view.
Yeah,
and it should have been left there. But then not only that, every week on Raw and SmackDown, we've had them involved in some way or another. They've either been in six-mans with
I think that's got to be it now, though, because
it absolutely has
it was a clean win. There was nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
The match was I thought the match was pretty good, but it just, just didn't have.
I loved the segment where they did the super kick and Jeff Jarrett caught it. This was the only involvement he had, which then Dawkins did his massive spine buster into that huge splash, but then they kicked out. Yeah,
but that's the thing. I thought he was going to cost the Usos the win. That would have made it interesting.
Yeah,
because if he had caught the super kick and then that meant the Street Profits won the titles.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you've got Roman Reigns, in my opinion, pissed off of Jeff Jarrett. You could do something with that.
100%. You either needed Street Profits to win, and then they go off, or they needed to split up.
Well, I do think, and that was going to be my question coming out of this. So, the Montez Ford stuff, he looked really angry. He got frustrated throughout the match. He looked fuming at the end. Now, this whole thing of they mentioned it on commentary as well, that Dawkins is upset basically because they keep saying that Montez Ford is the next breakout star, single star, and let's face it, he's gonna be. I think.
Yeah,
he is.
Apparently
he looks amazing. By the way,
he's also putting size on, and when they tell someone to change their view, they're then going to push him.
He's looking incredible.
But so in that, when we were thinking that, I always had in my head that Dawkins would turn on Ford, and Ford would be like this mega star babyface, and Dawkins would be this kind of heel. I'm now thinking you're going to get Montez Ford turn on.
Yeah, Dawkins. I think that as well. That's what I think is going to happen.
And Montez Ford will be I think he could be a really great charismatic heel.
Yeah.
His wrestling style maybe would have to change a little bit because I think doing that frog splash as a heel that goes miles in the air, that's.
Although Usos frog splash,
I guess it depends on which way you look at it. You can still do flashy moves.
I'll be disappointed if we don't get Eddie Guerrero this week.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I thought it would have happened at the pay-per-view, so I'm a bit disappointed in that.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether they'll drag it out a bit more. And
I do think sometimes it's worth.
Please don't make them have another match,
doing everything in one night. I think they did quite a lot on this show. They teased stuff on this show. I think you can then on Raw do something that pisses Montez Ford even further. And he snaps, and then you can do a big angle on Raw. And then on Thursday when we do the pod, we'll be talking about that as the big thing that happened on Raw. I think you can spread it out a little bit like that.
Yeah. Triple H is looking around our pod.
I just think if Montez Ford had turned heel on this show, it'd have been probably the fifth most talked about thing on the show, maybe at best.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Yeah,
whereas I think if he does it on Monday, everyone will be talking about it.
Yeah.
Or something. It might not do it Monday. It might go longer than that. But I also think, to add to my point, Dawkins has been wrestling much more like a babyface recently with his dives to the outside.
Thing is,
I think they're preparing him for that as well.
Definitely, they have definitely improved Dawkins, so I think he can do okay on his own. The thing is, though, if I agree with what you say, I agree with what you're saying in terms of when it's important. If that was the case, what was the point in having the match? We should have had the Intercontinental title defended on SummerSlam and moved the tag titles to Monday Night Raw. If that's what's going to happen.
Maybe
to make it a big thing that makes him turn. I hope we don't get to Monday Night Raw.
They probably see this as a bigger match for a SummerSlam match, but to me, I'd rather have seen like Gunther versus Shinsuke Nakamura or something.
Yeah, and I mean, the Usos were involved enough in the main event. You didn't need them to have defend their titles on the card.
No, a bit like the theory thing we said earlier. They were already having another storyline, another involvement on the card. They didn't necessarily have to have this match. They could have done the rematch earlier, and you could have had something.
These bits smell like Vince.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Vince booked the difficult thing is Vince had the card booked here. Like Triple H didn't put Roman Reigns v Brock Lesnar as the main event. Vince McMahon did. You know, he booked Ronda Rousey he booked Liv's cash in and then Ronda getting a rematch here. He booked the Usos having all the tag belts. You know, all this kind of stuff that Triple H has come in and gone, well, I can't just rip up the SummerSlam card and start again. So I think now it's going to be very interesting on Monday where we go from here, because now he's got, right, I can start new feuds. I can rip this feud up. And that's why I'm really excited, because we get the first proper pay-per-view, as far as I'm concerned.
The first
Triple H era where he's made the card. Okay, he's booked the matches here, and I think he's done a pretty good job with the matches and making them good. But yeah, I think we can get, I mean, some of them will be continuations. I think we're going to get continuations of quite a few of these feuds. But
maybe
some of them will be new ones. No doubt.
I just got a question on the Usos. Just who's next? Because I cannot for the life of me pick out a face tag team that they haven't faced 100 times already. Be that they fought with Mysterio's quite a bit. They fought, I mean, the New Day. You can't go back to that again.
It's a very good question.
I mean, Street Profits, now they've done, like, who? There's literally no one for them.
Jinder and Shanky.
Jinder and Shanky. Yeah,
I'm joking. Maybe they do that with
the.
maybe that's why they turned AJ and Dolph Ziggler into a tag team.
Ziggler and AJ.
Yeah, I mean,
I know who I'd like to see.
I've
said it for months. Who I'd like to see, but I think there needs to be some work done before this can happen.
Maybe Roman needs to lose his belt, but the bloodline still carries the gold.
Maybe. I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as a babyface duo,
yes,
after the Usos inevitably turn on Sami Zayn, is the way to go.
Yeah, but that's a long way down the line.
Yeah, it's not now. That won't happen next. So I agree with you. It's not next. That's the one I hope happens eventually. In terms of next, I'm not sure. Yeah, you make a good point, because I don't know.
I'm happy with the Usos carrying the belts because they're workers. They're there every week. I'm more than happy.
But they need to work against someone, don't they? There has to be someone.
Oh, definitely. Whoever we have, as long as they're wrestling, even if they squash a few.
Yeah, I don't think Usos are going to lose the
Jinder and Shanky and just keep going through teams for a while.
If the Viking Raiders were baby faces, they would be great shout right now, because they're being booked strong.
Although they did beat Viking Raiders within the last 6 months. They beat them for the belts.
Yeah.
I know, but
I don't like them as babyface. I much prefer Viking Raiders as they are.
I know, but all the Keeney's right in the sense of all the strong tag teams at the moment are heels. You've got like Judgment Day could be a great tag team champions. You could have the Viking Raiders. You've got even people like the Alpha Academy.
I mean, you could do like a Edge and Rey Mysterio if they're going to go on that line down the line. But again, they're embroiled in another big feud currently, and even then, Krusty's got 6 months of.
It's a good question, actually, because I have no idea. I genuinely have no clue.
There's just no one for them. But yeah,
we're going to get some new people brought in, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, we then had Riddle.
You could have. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Before we go.
Oh, hang on. Maximum Male Models. Are they SmackDown or?
They're SmackDown, but they are definitely heel.
It doesn't matter which brand they're on, because they've got both belts anyway.
Yeah, they can go Raw or SmackDown. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, thing is, although they're heel, they're not the same type of heel.
But we also haven't seen them wrestle as a tag team yet.
We don't know. We don't know what they're going to be like. I feel like they're going to be a comedy act.
You can't throw straight into the title.
Max Dupree and Sophia. Sorry, and Maxine.
Max and Maxine.
Max and Maxine versus Usos.
Okay. All right. Now let's move on to Riddle against. Oh no, not Riddle against Seth.
Riddle doing a cheeky promo.
Yeah, comes out through the crowd, which was quite again different, isn't it? You don't see this very often at pay-per-views. Sort of thing you'd see on a Raw maybe, and just calling out Seth Rollins. Obviously playing up his kayfabe injury, and Seth coming down and just
stomping his head
destroyed
off.
him, stomped him in the ring, walks off laughing in his
I love his orange suit.
yeah, orange suit. And yeah, I mean, this match wasn't on the card for whatever reason. You know, we don't know why, whether this was a Triple H decision to take it off the card or whether, you know, who knows. Again, I
It's
don't
a
know
bit
whether
weird
Fisher has it
that
as an
they
injury
played,
update.
Well, yeah, from what I heard, like I say, the plan is he wants to do it at Clash of the Castle for some reason. I'm not complaining because that'll be a banger match we get live. And at least we know we're going to get Rollins on the card if that's the case, because that's the perfect scenario for us, especially for Krusty.
I'd cry if he won.
But I have to say, this for me was a little bit of a skid marky segment. Purely because I liked it in isolation. I wouldn't skid mark it. It wasn't that bad. But in terms of the show, why did this happen? Because it was basically the same as angle as we got on Raw. And this isn't WWE's fault in a way, but it kind of is. People were expecting something big on this show with Seth Rollins.
I was expecting something big after the Twitter
we just got the same angle again, and that was it. That was what I thought. I thought what was going to happen is Riddle was going to come out. He was going to say that. I was surprised to see Riddle. I was like, okay, cool. Seth's going to stomp him, and then like Triple H is going to come out or something and be like, right, Seth, you want a match? You've made a statement. I've got an opponent for you. He brings someone out, Johnny Gargano, someone like that. I don't know. Could be someone already on the roster, but a shock would have been cool. And then he has like a little impromptu 10-minute match, and that would be awesome. But for me, I was just like, oh, okay, is that it?
It was a bit like that after the stuff on Twitter
was cool
and ranting and raving, and then Triple H saying, "I hear you."
Yeah.
So what did he hear?
It just was nothing.
He heard and said, "Riddle come out."
Yeah. It was
almost like
he gave Riddle a ticket so he could run to the ring.
I mean, he just wanted to keep them fresh in our mind, and this was
earlier I said I like the fact they involved people that weren't on the card on the show, but the problem was they were on the card originally, and just doing the match would have been better than what they did. So for this one, I actually disagree.
Just Seth coming out and just talking rubbish about Riddle for a bit, and then I don't know. It does.
I didn't get why they did this. To me, it was a waste of time.
No,
and I'd rather, because I was thinking, oh, there's not that long on the show left. Are we going to get anything from Seth? And if we'd have just got nothing, I'd have been like, okay, Seth wasn't on the show. That's a bit weird. But I wouldn't have thought, oh, that was a waste of time. Whereas here, because they actually used him, and they used him to do exactly the same thing, I was actually more disappointed with that than them doing nothing, I think, in the end.
Yep. All right, should we move on to Liv and Ronda Rousey?
Yeah.
Because I think this might be a match where we're a bit split here as a trio, because I think we might have different opinions on the ending of the match.
I don't know
like the decision.
But what did you make of the match itself? Because I think me and Krusty said, and I think you probably agree, Fish, this was a very hard match to book, because you don't want Linda to
Linda? Is Linda booking it? Is Vince passed on to Linda? Is that part of the
settlement? Where does that come from?
Jesus.
Liv? I think I got Liv and Ronda combined for Linda.
If Linda starts booking WWE, that's when we've got to stop watching.
You don't want Liv to have a short title reign like a Nikki SH style, and how can you have Ronda Rousey lose clean? So this is a hard one to book. So it was interesting coming into it. I mean, Ronda Rousey was kind of in control for a lot of it. I guess Liv had a bit of offense. It wasn't too bad. But I guess the real talking point here is the ending, unless anyone else has anything about the match itself.
No, I
the
totally
only thing
agree
I really
with what you said.
noteworthy was a cool move by Liv where she was sort of hanging on the back of Ronda and managed to like flip it into a slam. It was quite odd, but it was really cool, into a pin. Yeah, I liked that bit.
I think some of the arm bars that Liv took and didn't tap out of is quite impressive, considering the amount of people that tap out quite quickly to these arm bars.
Yeah,
Liv is holding on. Yeah, so she looked good there. But the ending, the finish of the match, what do you guys make of it? I think you're a bit unsure, Fisher. What about you?
Yeah, like I didn't hate it initially, but I also didn't like it in the sense of it kind of does make Liv look a little bit of a weak champion if she's tapping out. But it is to Ronda, so it's like, well, I don't know. It just, where do you go from that? Obviously, you're gonna have to do another match, right? Surely, you can't just ignore that. Yeah. I think we're going to get that again at Clash.
I think we're going to get a triple threat.
I
think the way to have Liv keep the title is to have a triple threat: Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan, and somehow they cancel each other out, which means Liv can get the win.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe.
I liked the aftermatch.
I'm not saying I want that
bit with Ronda beating up the ref and stuff. That was all fine.
Yeah. So
that was awesome.
before I give my view, what do you make of the finish, Krusty? The armbar pinfall
not
tap.
overly keen on this. It's just overbooked. I feel this is overbooked. I understand why it has to happen. I do, but also we're just going to get this for weeks now. Of you tapped out. It's like, oh no, well, I got the pin. Blah 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 blah. I don't know if I want that. I think they booked themselves in a corner. I think they should have ended it.
They did. I mean, this was a tough one for Triple H to come into with this match booked and like, how do I finish this? For me, I thought this was brilliant. This ending. I was for the whole match. I was thinking, how are they going to end this match? I couldn't think of a way to end it, and they've come up with an ending that for me doesn't make Liv look weak because she's been in about 7 armbars during the match. She hasn't tapped out. It took until it's not like if she had tapped out with the first armbar, if that was the first armbar of the match, it's a weak ending. But we know how quickly people tap out to Ronda's armbar. So Liv still, in my opinion, looks strong. Ronda Rousey technically didn't lose because Liv tapped out at 2.5 or 2. And it gave Ronda a reason to turn heel. And we get another match out of this feud and keeps Liv's reign a bit longer. So for me, it was almost an impossible match to book, but I think they couldn't have booked it any better, in my opinion. I think it was as good as they could have done.
I don't disagree with that at all. I
don't disagree with what you're saying. One thing I don't like about when they do this tap out just as their pinning thing is Liv must know she's got Ronda in a pin and she can hear the ref counting. Why would you then tap out on 2 when you've only got to hold the pain for 1 more second? It doesn't make any sense in a combat situation standpoint.
Should we
in a real fight?
Should we put you in an armbar?
Let's get Fisher in an armbar.
We'll get.
Mr. Summerslam might tap out.
That's my issue with these type of finishes. Is why would Liv start tapping unless she was completely unaware that she had Ronda in the pin? Maybe that's what they were trying to imply.
I think the ref was between them, wasn't he? But
the ref was clearly only looking at Ronda's shoulders. Like they did replays from all sorts of angles, and he's looking just at her shoulders. It up
well here, but it's an odd one. I just think it's an excuse to do another match.
I actually didn't see Ronda's tap, Liv's tap, until they showed it after. Like obviously when after the match finished, but as the pinfall happened, I only saw the pinfall. I was that's how she's winning by pinfall. But I just thought it was quite a clever way.
It is clever. I think when you look at it from a logical standpoint,
I just think if you're Triple H and you've got like a week to book this finish for this match, like what do you do? Like, I other than bringing Charlotte Flair back, and doing the Bayley return in this match, you could have done. That's what we speculated. That's one way out of it, but. If he obviously had plans for Bayley somewhere else, and who knows what Charlotte Flair's situation is, then I think his hands were tied. And I mean, we will probably get to see Liv and Ronda at Clash at the Castle. So again, I do look at all of this a bit selfishly at Clash at the Castle card viewpoint. So yeah, I'm happy with it as we get Fisher's face back on camera.
Sorry, I didn't realise John Cena was due on SummerSlam card, but. You can see him there.
It's like
I'm trying to work at an angle. Lighting issues. Better now.
All right. Anything else on there before we move on to the main event?
No, it's just like you said. I didn't actually say much about the match itself. I thought the match itself was quite good. But yeah, I didn't know what to make of the finish. This is one of them.
No. Oh, and actually, before we move on, I was going to make a quick point. I was going to make it earlier, but I thought I'd wait to this match was. This SummerSlam, again, if we're looking into things with detail and Triple H changing things, we've now got Becky Lynch face and Ronda Rousey heel, that was the opposite before. And I think they're both better suited in these roles.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really excited.
I think Triple H has said, no, I'm changing you two around. and they both make complete sense with what happened at the matches. And
I could see Ronda maybe being the ban anyway.
Vince might have done
maybe not with Becky.
These turns.
I don't think so with Becky necessarily.
Yeah,
I think with Ronda, I think it might have headed that way anyway. Eventually, whether it would happen now or not, I don't know. But yeah, I agree though. It's definitely a smart decision. They both work in those roles better.
Yeah. And then
this isn't not a SmackDown review, but Ronda doing a promo the other day.
Oh.
It was bad.
And then she had to go a fan for telling her shut up.
So
it's not very face.
If she's heel, I think it suits her better.
Yeah, and maybe now we're on a collision course for Mania of Becky and Ronda in their proper roles in a one-on-one match that we haven't.
Before we didn't get the main event as well, there was one other little random bit that happened on the show, and Kane come out for some reason. I know it's his home state and he's the mayor.
I know, dressed in a suit as a mayor and still doing the fire.
I just don't care about Mayor Kane. If he's Kane, the character Kane, I care. If he's Mayor Kane, no.
Yeah, but maybe the people in the arena care, and that's why
they do a little bit, but I don't know. I think they'd care more. I think they'd pop more if the character come out than suited Kane. But whatever. It's just a random little thing to add. Again, another random thing that happened on this show. That was a bit random.
That was my Kane impression.
I missed it. Missed your Kane impression. What do you do?
Oh, I'm not going to do it again.
You do a better Kane impression than Kane these days.
I'll watch back on YouTube with everyone else.
Yeah. What, like and subscribe. Specifically
cheeky
for
plug.
My Kane impression.
Yeah, if you're going to subscribe for anything,
you're all going to be very disappointed. Sorry.
All right, let's go on to the main event. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar.
And Brock's tractor.
Last man standing. Yeah, so Brock's tractor. I mean... I think I said on the pod last time that I was most looking forward to McAfee and Corbin, and I think I was in the build-up because I thought I was really looking forward to that. But then when the entrances are happening, I've got goosebumps. Like, I am so excited for this match. They can always do it to me, WWE. They can just throw Brock and Roman anywhere, and I will hammer it the whole build-up.
You're Vince's best customer, aren't
you? I will hammer it, and then as soon as
I get what you mean,
entrances, and I am like, oh my god,
never
here we
book this match again. And then when it happens, I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, and I was so excited. Roman's entrance is like just amazing,
Such marks,
and then Brock with his bloody tractor. I mean, we've seen Stone Cold come to the ring in milk floats, whatever, before beers or whatever. He's driven to the ring in loads of things, but a tractor I think might be a first. I was surprised by that, and I mean, this match was chaos. This match, but I absolutely loved it. I mean,
even before we got into it, I just loved when Brock got the microphone and introduced himself as a big ass country boy. That was so cool. I mean, it made the crowd pop.
And then he threw the mic and Roman caught it. It was pretty cool.
That was a great catch, by the way.
Yeah, brilliant catch.
And then the way he started the match, just jumping off of it onto Roman. There was some different things in this, which were just really cool.
Very unique match, I felt.
It wasn't just 20 suplexes and like 5
No, I
F5s.
thought this match was great, to be honest.
It was banging, wasn't it?
I didn't have that high expectations going in, mainly because the WrestleMania match under-delivered. It was the main event. WrestleMania was a good show. That was at the end of it, a long weekend, and it was just there. It was like, why did this happen? So then when this match was back again, it was just kind of like, well, whatever. And last man standing matches can be a bit slow, purely because you have to wait not going to go down
9
they're not going
to
yeah. First of all, you have to wait for them to get up from 10 counts a lot, which is slow anyway, but also it takes a lot to get people down for 10 of that caliber. So you're in for a long sort of slog of a match. But I thought the first few minutes of it were a little bit boring in that sense, because it was kind of basic moves on the outside. Then they'd get up at 6 or 7, kind of up the ante a little bit, because he's getting up from that.
Well, also Brock absolutely dominated for the first half of the match. I feel like Roman barely got moving, absolutely annihilated him.
I think things took an interesting turn once Brock got in that tractor. I was like, okay, what is he going to do? And when he lifted the ring up, I couldn't.
That was amazing. Roman went absolutely flying.
That was a really cool spot.
The
Something I've never
hell?
seen before.
Yeah, what did we see? Like, I'm still baffled. He lifted the ring up with a tractor. Like, what? Like, what is
That
going
worked
on?
so well. The mat was, he'd already rammed it, and the
Yeah,
mat was
I think he's
all
gonna
over
like
the
rammed
place.
it. I thought he was just gonna push the ring somewhere. I was like, he can't go into the crowd. I don't know what he's gonna do. He's gonna like squish Michael Cole or something in a minute. But it was mental. I mean, just quickly, the Brock slipped on the he tried to jump onto the rails and slipped off.
And the commentators mentioned it, like he's going to take this and anger out on Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I did find that funny.
Embarrassed himself
But
with it, slip.
obviously the ring's insane, and we got Usos obviously involved. We got Theory a bit later on, but we also got an F5 on Paul Heyman through a table.
That was amazing.
Paul
was
Heyman
mad. I
taking
didn't
a
expect
table
that.
F5. Jesus
He,
Christ.
that
a
shows
lad.
how much he trusts Brock Lesnar, by the way. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
that
And
is
Paul Heyman
mental.
to let him do that.
No, I could not believe that.
I was stunned when I saw that. This match had everything in the end.
It
Obviously, you knew the Usos were going to get involved at some point as well. Theory getting involved as well. Like anything that could happen. And it didn't, but it didn't also feel overbooked. It felt
No, I thought it was
chaotic,
unbelievable. This
but
match.
it felt how it should feel, really. I thought it was awesome. I really did.
I mean, the way Brock throws those Usos around is insane. Again, how is he not injuring people? Like, he knows what he's doing. And there was one suplex he did to Roman. I think it's a suplex, might be another move. Anyway, and Roman hit the back of his head on like the table leg or something, didn't he? Like smashed him, like, and hit the back of his head on the table leg because it was sticking up. And I think at one point Roman's head hit the barricade and you heard it like bounce off. Like some of the bumps these guys were taking were mad.
I loved the way they used the tables multiple times. Like that one table that got smashed. They then Brock then used it to like smash him over the head with it, and then he like just lobbed him through this tiny bit of table which wouldn't have cushioned the blow at all. I think that's where he banged his head.
Yeah,
he just like slammed him through it. It's so rare you see them use every bit of the table until it's dismembered.
Yeah, no, it was honestly. I think this is right out there for my match of the year kind of candidacy. I loved this match.
Yeah, in terms of sports entertainment, this was well up there. This was an absolute banger.
And obviously, we all knew Theory was coming, and we all knew that was happening. But I think maybe all of us, again, you were on the pod this week, Fisher, but I think maybe you'd agree that I don't think we thought Theory was going to cash in. We thought he'd come out.
I've been saying for weeks that they've been overplaying the fact that whoever won Money, even before Money in the Bank happened, they were basically like, whoever wins Money in the Bank is going to cash in on the main event at SummerSlam. They've said it like every week to the point where it's so obvious it wasn't going to happen. I'd forgotten about Theory. I was enjoying the match so much that when Theory's music hit, I was like, oh shit, he's cashing in. And I thought,
it did make me laugh a bit because you could see Brock was just stood up and Theory, you could blatantly see him, but he did. I thought he was going to hit. I was like, he's going to hit him with a briefcase, but he didn't. He just then went to the ref.
I know.
What did you think of the finish as well? Because at the end, Roman was so frustrated and he hit him with a belt and he got up. And then I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something like, you don't need to be here or something, like go home, basically.
Yeah,
and
I think
you don't belong here or something.
And and was that sort of a little goodbye message, do you think, for now?
I'll be surprised if we see Brock until Mania earliest.
Well, I mean, because obviously with the reports of him being, walking out of SmackDown and then coming back.
I think he's I've said it before. I think he's jumping before he's pushed. I don't
think he'd ever get pushed out, to be honest.
But I don't think he's going to get pushed out, but I don't think he's going to get used. I think he's saving face because I don't think he'll be used in the same way. More it'll be a one-off thing. But I think Triple H sees a lot more, as he showed over this night, in these younger, well, I say younger, but fresher superstars. Building stars. They need to build more Brocks. You can't just keep recycling the old ones because you end up with no stars.
But I also think right now it would be silly to just completely put Brock on the shelf and not use him at all.
Well, and also who knows where Brock's head's at, because
it's down to Brock.
Yeah. He's worked a lot.
I think it's down to Brock.
He has worked a lot.
And he did walk out on SmackDown the other week. Whether he obviously came back and
he's a Vince guy. Like he probably, I don't know for certain, but I imagine Vince phones him up and goes, "Do you fancy working this date?" we'll pay you this amount. He doesn't speak to hardly anyone. He doesn't need to speak to people in creative. Doesn't need to speak to.
But I bet he
other
does speak
talent
to
that
Paul
much.
Heyman though.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, Paul Heyman,
Yeah.
of course.
Who
But
is-
and to be honest, Triple H looks like he's getting Paul Heyman working closely with him, which might help in terms of keeping Brock happy. But it would, before I would think Brock didn't deal with a lot of people in WWE. He'd turn up to work. He'd ask Vince what he wants from him. He'd obviously have to work with people that are writing angles and whatever, and the talent he's working with, and that would be about it. I don't know if he had much interaction with Triple H and Stephanie and everybody else. He might do. I don't know, but yeah. So for me,
I
it's
do
a
think that's a
transition
bit
one.
wrong, though. I don't think people should be put on a pedestal like that.
No,
in
but
all
I don't.
honesty.
I think it's the case with
No,
quite a lot
but
of people. Like
yeah.
Pat
I think
McAfee said that he
Vince
comes to work and he
does.
basically speaks to Michael Cole, and that's it. Like he doesn't. A lot of the time, he doesn't know what's going on with the talent. That's why he gets the.
I think that's
reaction.
good, though. That's
Yeah, like
how it should be his role.
it depends on what your role is on the show, I guess. But Brock's not there week to week. I'm guessing he probably does speak to some of the locker room that he's built up relationships with.
I've seen
over years,
pictures of
but-
him sat in the ring after the SummerSlam, so I don't think he's that salty. He
No,
looked quite happy with
Well,
himself.
these days, he seems a lot more mellowed and chilled out than he used to be.
Yeah.
I think that, maybe we're getting the wrong impression of Brock in that sense. But
I mean, he's also
dunno.
getting paid an absolute shit ton.
Oh,
as
of
well.
course.
That's
Yeah.
like it's gonna be you're working 5 days every 6 months and you're getting paid insane amounts. It's not a bad position to be in from his point of view. He's probably got one of the best
well, that's why
lives
I
going.
can't see him. He seems to be enjoying himself, and he's getting paid a lot of money. That's why I don't see him completely quitting.
At the
I
moment,
don't see Triple
the
H
thing is, I
being
always
like,
think
"You're not
about
gonna- I don't want you here."
when we think about Brock, I can't get out of my head last year when we had him holding on to belts and never being there. That pissed me off.
Mhm.
The last 5 months or so, I've actually really enjoyed him, and I do like having him around. Face Brock's been awesome. I
Yeah,
have
it has,
enjoyed
yeah.
that, but it's difficult for me to let go on what we did have coming back.
Thing is,
week by
Roman's
week,
kind of
buggering
doing
off.
that now.
Well,
And
Roman
I've
is
slated, and I've slated
Yeah,
Roman
I know,
for it.
I know.
I've not liked it, not one bit.
That's
I
why.
don't want
That's
another
why
Brock
we want
Lesnar.
Drew to win the belt. I mean, Drew even called him a part-time champion, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I
on his
wonder.
promo, so.
Because I mean, Roman is the biggest thing in professional wrestling, but definitely in WWE. Full stop. He is the biggest act by a country mile because we've got a hot show here of the top talent they've got to offer us, and I don't care what anyone says. Roman Reigns is the biggest deal by a long way. Like when he comes out, everything he does just feels more important than anyone else. He's just that far ahead of everyone else, in my opinion, right now, and he's obviously got a reduced contract that he agreed with Vince, and I just wonder whether Triple H might be saying to him, well, actually, I want you to work a lot more than that because we need you. You are like, again, Vince had obviously done a deal with Roman, and I wonder if Triple H can do anything about it. And maybe Triple H says, okay, if that's going to be your deal, then you can't be champion because I can't have you working
I
short
can
time.
see that more happening than the other way around. Like Roman,
Yeah.
I don't see Roman's
But
contract
then
changing to
would
work more, but I can
Roman,
see-
because I doubt Vince said that to him, saying, because Vince always says, oh, you can be champion and we'll just bring him for the big events. And maybe Triple H is saying, well, either if you want to be champion, mate, you got to be here more often. And I don't know, obviously I don't know Roman at all. Who knows what his mindset would be if he was given that ultimatum. But be interesting to see if we see more of Roman, whether he carries on with his schedule going forwards.
It's interesting times, isn't it? But overall,
It is.
I think an absolute cracker of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, I come off this absolutely buzzing, and
Yeah.
I did caveat that earlier with the Clash at the Castle kind of bias as well, because I am so hyped for that show now because we've got tickets and because it's the first show pay-per-view we've been able to go to in our lifetime essentially. So, and with knowing all the knock-on effects this has to that, everything that happened, I maybe looked at it two ways from like, oh, that was amazing, but also it means this for when we're there. So I come off this more buzzed than I think I've come off a pay-per-view in years. I think this is, I just feel so hyped right now about everything. So I'm in a really good place, and I think it was a really good show, but I think I'm probably a bit too excited to. I think the Clash bias has got me a bit too excited.
Definitely going to be incredible.
What did you make of it, Fish?
Yeah, I mean, I just agree. I thought it was a great show overall. There were a couple of bits that, like I say, I didn't necessarily need to be there. I think that they could have got rid of the Lashley Theory match. I think they should have done something else with Rollins to make it. I think that was the big thing that everyone was hoping for going into the show. So much hype around that. And again, like I said, part of that's fan speculation, but Triple H did kind of feed into it a little bit with his tweet.
He did.
And in hindsight, maybe that was a mistake. I don't know. But overall, I mean, the standard of wrestling on the show was really high. The booking the matches was really good. I thought all the right people won the matches on the whole as well. I say that because I got 100% predictions.
No, well, no, fair to say.
Honestly, I think it made sense. I definitely
it's really a match ending which was bad. Like
the only one that was a little bit controversial was the Ronda Liv one.
Yeah, Ronda Liv.
That's going to divide opinion a little bit. One. But other than that, all of the other matches, okay, a lot of them had interferences or something happened in them, but they all made sense. It wasn't just for the sake of it. And obviously, the opener, I think the biggest thing for me on the show was seeing Dakota Kai and Io Shirai on that main roster has given me hope that not only NXT call-ups can happen and they're going to be good, but also returning superstars that have been released. People may look at this now and go, yeah, because we've heard that. We heard that there were people out there thinking about it, but already,
we've now seen it,
the first show, Dakota Kai's back. To me, that is a big statement. Even though her on herself isn't the biggest statement in the world, the fact that she was recently released, but Triple H has brought her back, that's the kind of thing that makes me excited for the future, because I think that can open the door for many others. Obviously, like we've said before, there's quite a lot that have signed to other companies. So, Tony Khan's had to come out saying that Adam Cole's here for 5 years. He's not going back just because Triple H is in charge and Triple H loves Adam Cole. That's not going to happen. We know that. We weren't stupid enough to think that they were all just going to suddenly jump ship again. But it does definitely open the door for a few more cool returns in the next couple of months, and that's exciting.
Yeah, and also the fact that Dakota and Io weren't just brought back, but they're brought back in like
prominent roles.
The top women's division, the top female superstars against Becky and Bianca.
Well, with Bayley now, and Bayley's going to be on TV every week. So,
I remember advocating for Bayley to manage Tony Storm.
Two people
a while back.
We haven't mentioned them for a while, and I don't think they're going to come back right now. But what does this mean for Sasha Banks and Naomi? Even them, Triple H is a massive fan of Sasha Banks.
I'll be surprised if they don't come back now.
I really was thinking earlier when we were discussing the three. You mentioned a tag match. Really, you could do with a third person with Belair and Becky. That could easily be Naomi or Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if we see them two return. I mean, just imagine now, I don't want to get you guys too excited, but imagine if Sasha returns at Clash when we're there and just...
That'd be insane.
Her music drops and like...
They have got their first sort of public appearance outside of WWE is in a couple of weeks, and they're doing it together, interestingly, as well. It was originally advertised to be Sasha, and now Naomi's doing it as well. So obviously they wouldn't be probably allowed to do this if they were still signed to WWE. So I think they are officially gone, even though we've not had an announcement or anything. But I do wonder. I've seen a lot of pictures recently of Bayley hanging out with Sasha Banks as well. I do wonder if there's going to be Triple H has got to be picking up the phone and going.
Yeah,
I know you're not in your contract now, but we can always write up a new one.
I saw Sasha Banks tweet last night. I think just said Liv with like heart emoji eyes or some sort of.
She's been very quiet,
some sort of tweet about Liv either during or after her match.
Oh, I've not seen that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so
she's been very silent on.
That is something. Well,
I'd love that feud as well.
Yeah, well, just the fact that she's tweeting about something WWE related gives again. I think Fisher's point is the right one. Is it gives us all a bit of hope that. It just feels fresh, doesn't it? I feel like
does she delete that tweet? Because I can't see it on her thing now.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I just saw it pop up on my feed. Maybe it was it might have been a retweet from 5 years ago or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That someone piped
Because
up.
she's not,
Maybe,
according to this, she's not tweeted since like May.
No, there you go.
Because I was going to say she's been like silent. There's been nothing from her.
Naomi has probably a retweet, and I didn't.
Naomi has tweeted a few times, but Sasha Banks has been silent.
Yeah,
that's why no one knows what's going on because they're not active on Twitter at the moment.
No,
and obviously Naomi's husband is still in a very prominent role in WWE.
Yeah, exactly. Well, isn't Sasha's husband a costume designer?
He is as well, I believe.
WWE.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, this feels like. I feel like obviously SummerSlam, you mentioned Fish, Triple H can't change anything for SummerSlam really because, we said that, and I think Dakota Kai was definitely a change he made.
Oh yeah, but he couldn't change. He wasn't going to go. Miz and Logan Paul isn't happening now.
Yeah,
which he might have done. He might not have done that match in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And so the few shows before, again, it's not been many since Vince left. It's been 2 SmackDowns on a Raw. So now this is now a fresh new page in the book, whatever metaphor you want to use now. We are building up to a pay-per-view completely Triple H is doing. Vince, I guess Vince did kind of book Drew to main event the show, but it's kind of a obvious thing too. But this feels like a completely fresh Triple H era now that we're moving into. And that's why I think this pay-per-view it's just got me so excited because I enjoyed the show and then the future, I'm just so excited for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Overall, definitely. Anything else to add, Krusty, or should we close it there?
No, completely agree with most things you're saying. Yeah, no.
Most things.
Really, because we've spoke so long, you forget that I started with my roundup. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, we've said
I don't know where we've gone.
Stuff,
yeah, I thoroughly
This has just gone through Sasha Banks'
I'm really excited
for
the Triple H
era.
To be honest, I think everything is hopefully going to be for the best, and it's already showing. I think so. I'm excited.
Yeah. So that's really all we've got time for in this special edition, the SummerSlam special. If you're listening on our podcast, thank you very much. We had a big influx of new listeners, so thank you very much for checking us out. Hope you stick around. And if you want to watch us on YouTube and see what we look like as well,
apart from Fisher,
apart from Mitch today for the second half of the show, then find us on YouTube at Recharge Wrestling. Like and subscribe to everything there. We've got podcasts, obviously, but we've got other content as well. We've had gaming content. Check that out, and we will have videos coming up when we are at Clash of the Castle. That's for sure. So you'll definitely want to watch them. So yeah, check us out on our YouTube if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle, and we'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.